All right. So I want to talk about my New Zealand uh, story and where I was in heaven. You know, I felt heaven, and I want to explain something in a succinct form so that it's not too long. And I wrote down this story, and it's pretty long, and I had to take it down because it was like over 1 hour long. So I want to like try to make it into like shorter version. All right. So basically, it happened in 2008, right? And just you can see my story here written down. But the point is, it all started, or I have to include what happened in 2007. And in summer of 2007, I was in Calgary, Canada, and it was an English language program and activities and summer camp, stuff like that. It's lots of fun, and I met there a certain Taiwanese girl. Of course, I was 17 at the time. She was, maybe she was maybe 1 year younger. She is 1 year younger than me, and this is her name. But anyway, so basically, last week of my stay there in Canada, I kind of fell in love with her, and it felt amazing, but I was shy at the same time. But we kept in touch after I left Canada, and she went to her country, and we chatted on the MSN Messenger at that time, which no longer exists. But in 2007 and 2008, it was a popular form of communication online. So basically, then after about 6 months, we were still talking on Messenger, and I began to feel like we are good friends, and but I was in love with her. Like I wanted to, try to see her or meet her. Although I'm from Europe, from the Czech Republic, but that didn't stop me hoping, So basically, in December of 2007, she sent me a postcard, Christmas wishes and New Year and stuff. And at the time, and I was very happy about it, because this is the first time in my whole life that a girl sent me something, postcard, and a letter. Basically, she invited me to come to New Zealand, Dunedin, which is in the South Island, Otago region, and so yeah, it was great. I was looking forward to going there. She said she's going to study there as high school, and eventually university, because it is a famous New Zealand study town. It's called Student City as well, and so moving on, to the part where I actually went there, right? So, I was really planning it, I had some friends from Taiwan, Jerry, and he can read a bit here. I told my friend Jerry from Taiwan, I'm going to New Zealand to see her, and he asked me, do you want to marry her? And I'm not sure. I don't remember what I said. I think I said, yeah, sure. Why not? But that never happened. But I went there. Suffice to say, a little bit of information of what I was kind of going through. I started like also seeking God, getting in the Bible and like spiritual stuff and the end of the world kind of stories and shit. But anyway, so in April of 2008, as I read here from my story, I had forsaken some evil habits of mine, which caused me to sin. You know, I wrote this, 11 years ago, but whatever. I stopped watching pornography, drinking alcohol, and I stopped smoking. So in April, and I went to the New Zealand in July, the beginning of July, 2008. And so for 3 months, I was kind of like trying to live pure, or holy, or what do you call it, kind of like being sober and being, not self-indulgent and fasting as well, and that kind of thing, and so then began my journey to New Zealand. I think I set off to New Zealand on July the 5th, and so the first flight was from Prague, my city, to London, England, and then it was something happened, but the flight was postponed for the next day. I had to stay in a hotel near the airport. And then the flight was the next day, and I was fasting during the whole journey from my country to Dunedin, New Zealand, right? And so the next flight from London was the longest flight, to Hong Kong, where the plane did, refueled. And there was a waiting for about 2 hours, I think, but the flight was at least, 12 hours, maybe even 13 hours. It was so long, from London to Hong Kong, and then from Hong Kong to Auckland, New Zealand, which is North Island of NZ. And so during this flight, or, these two flights, I was feeling like I was already in London. I felt like I'm being taken to heaven. I'm like, my spirits were so excited that I'm coming to see New Zealand, and of course I was in love, so I was excited about meeting the girl I love, of course, and all this combined, just brought in me some sort of euphoria, and it was, undescribable. It was just amazing, I was. At one point on the plane, there was like feelings of, I was like feeling my soul is leaving my body, but it felt like heaven. It felt like blissful and, so amazing. And so, when the flight attendant brought me water, then I kind of gained some energy because I was fasting, as I said. And anyway, so also I was like, when I was kind of feeling that my soul is leaving my body, I was talking within myself or praying, whatever you want to call it, like some Bible verse, like Jesus. What he said is, seek and it shall be found, and knock, the door shall be open to you. But anyways, then I finally arrived. The last flight from Auckland to Dunedin was a shorter one, but I was reading the Bible. I remember reading the Song of Solomon and a part of Isaiah. It's kind of in the middle of the Bible, and yes. I felt like, I was looking out of the window of the plane, and it felt like this land below me was so beautiful that I was feeling like, the land of milk and honey, like, and there was, the snow-covered land, because it was winter in New Zealand in July, of course, and Yeah, so I felt really good about it. Felt like at one point I felt like an incredible feeling, like that God was in me and like in my body, and I was like nothing I have ever felt before or after, for that matter. But it was so good. I cannot even describe it. How it felt. It was just unbelievably good feeling, man. So then I arrived there already in Dunedin airport. And they took me. I showed them the address of the hostel I was supposed to stay in, and it was there was some kind of a transportation provided, a van, if I'm correct. So I just put my bags or my bag in my backpack into my room, and I just went outside, So I went outside only in t-shirt, although it's winter, but I felt like running, and I just felt so powerful. Like I felt like a superhero, it was unreal, man. And I found a Celtic cross, like some kind of a monument there it symbolized eternal life as I examined it. I felt like, is this like I gained immortality at this point, because I really felt it, because it was like all these synchronicities were like so interesting that I was thinking I'm in paradise, man. Everything here is beautiful. It was a beautiful railway station, and the cross that I saw, that I thought it also gave me some confirmation about my immortality. And then I kind of started running, because I felt like, indestructible and like so much power, and I had to run. And keep in mind that also I did not sleep for the whole duration of the journey, which was almost 75 hours, I think, 3 days, I think. And I didn't eat, so there's that. So I was pretty much like, in another state of mind, where I cannot distinguish a reality from a dream. So that's why I did a weird thing. I came to a parking lot with cars, like for lease, and I didn't see anybody there. This place looked kind of abandoned. Like I thought it's like, am I in some game? This life is a game. But then I was like, where's the I should do some stunt, I'm like a superhero, right? And then I remember feeling that, I guess I can do what I want, because I'm in paradise, man. I have immortality. I feel it in my body. I feel God and I feel heaven. So it was so amazing but I did a weird thing that probably I shouldn't have done. And I found an open car, it was open and the keys were in the ignition. So I just took the car, and at the time I didn't think this was reality, that there are laws, so I was not in my right mind at all. At this time I was 18 years old, but it's just, I just took this car, and it has the automatic, where you just pull the lever and you just drive. It was easy. So I mean, I knew how to drive, but this was like different. I just went into the car. I just started the car, started speeding up, and so I want to tell you what the article says about what happened. So this is the article that the New Zealand newspaper wrote about me, what happened. A stolen car driver crashes into Cadbury's, which was a chocolate factory. I'm gonna read it, A police pursuit of an 18-year-old Czechoslovakian man driving a stolen vehicle ended abruptly when the driver crashed the four-wheel drive into the side of a building in central Dunedin yesterday morning. It was July the 7th. Sergeant Dave Scott of Dunedin said the driver crashed head-on into the Cadbury building on Castle Street and was suspected to have broken both legs. The driver was trapped in the vehicle for a short time, and police said charges were pending. The pursuit started on Anzac Avenue at about 11:10 a.m. and lasted for about 1 minute before the driver lost control of the vehicle and crashed into the building. No other vehicles were involved. The Nissan Patrol four-wheel drive, which allegedly had been stolen from a business premises in the hours before the crash, was extensively damaged. One lane of Class D is blocked. Anyway, the driver was taken to Dunedin Hospital by ambulance for treatment, and high blood alcohol level was tested. And of course, there was no alcohol in me. I had taken no alcohol or any substance like a drug, nothing. This was all caused probably by the extensive fasting and the extensive lack of sleep, right? Yeah, this guy, Scott, says recklessly endangering people's lives. I mean, this, as I said, and also, they said I had broken both my legs, and in the hospital, there I am. They're taking me on a gurney into the ambulance, right? And so they think I'm almost dead, or at least both legs broken. And in the hospital, they thought that even my back, my spine is broken, but none of it was true. None of it was true, and I was probably only bruised, and I had glass splinter under my skin, like small pieces of glass from the windshield that I kind of, I went hard, the speed here was, I was speeding for about like 100 kilometers per hour, or it's like 70 miles per hour if you are, and so it was pretty high speed. So it was like kind of like my knee, I put it in front of me like as a reflex, and it broke the steering wheel. So I have a large scar on my knee, and that was the biggest injury on my body, the knee. But I was kind of only for a few weeks. The walking was a bit hard for me, or running. I walked, but it hurt a lot. But I still kind of thought I'm immortal because I felt no pain. I was in shock probably. I was a bit crazy, of course. That's why after they treated me in the hospital, they took me into a mental health facility, mental ward 9B first, and then ward 11. And it's interesting, about the 11, that actually, if you read here, 11:10, and it lasted 1 minute, my speeding, and then crashing into the building. So 11:11, that's kind of the number, that people talk about, like angel number, whatever. And so it's pretty cool, right? And I was in ward 11 of the Vakari Hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital, of course. They put me on some pills, but I still felt like I'm in heaven, even in that mental hospital, and it was amazing too. But I just thought, I made it to heaven, and this is some kind of heaven as well. Also, when I crashed and I passed out, I guess, went into a coma maybe for a few minutes, I don't know, or a few seconds, I don't know. But I started when I kind of woke up, I was already in the hospital, and I was shouting Tool lyrics from the song "The Garage," like Saturn comes back around to show you everything, lets you choose what you will, drags you down like a stone, or lifts you up again, spits you up like a child, light and innocent. Saturn ascends the 1, the 10, ignorant to the damage done. Now, this is one of my favorite Tool songs, and I was allegedly speaking about like also the serpent, like from the Bible and Jesus Christ, but I don't remember this much, so let's just leave it at that. Right, so I mean, had many other instances. Like I was one day, it was I was already 1 month in the hospital, but my dad came over to New Zealand because he had to take me back to my country, which I hated because I wanted to stay in New Zealand because it felt like heaven. But I guess it had to be done, whatever, But we went to one day, they allowed me, and we went to the cinema with my dad, and to see the movie, the latest movie at that time, Dark Knight, Joker and Batman. Well, I was like, I was feeling like this is weird, and I don't like it. Like, I feel like the actors are hypocrites, and I don't want to be like that. I want to do something that is like the Joker, like being not serious, because why so serious? He said, like, right. So, well, anyway, so I ran out of the cinema because I was kind of terrified that all people are like serious, and I wanted to do some stunt, I guess, and I just ran as fast as I can, and it was on Octagon Square in Dunedin, which is a famous square there. It's a octagon-shaped square, but I kind of ran, like sprinted very fast, and then I jumped, and then like banged my head against the concrete ground, and I felt no pain. I thought like this should crack my skull. This should have cracked my skull, right? But it didn't, and it felt like bliss. It felt like euphoric. So it was amazing, and I slid like at least like 15 feet on the ground. It was like slippery and maybe half frozen at that time. I don't know, but I slid many meters or many feet also, and I did it repeatedly at least 3 times. And each time banging my head against the ground, the concrete. So, but it didn't hurt me. So, I was feeling like that's the confirmation that I'm immortal, And there was all these times that I really felt amazing and heavenly. I enjoyed the food, even water. I was like, when I drank water, I felt like, yeah, this is awesome. I was laying on my bed. The nurse brought me a water, and I felt like when I drank it, that I drank like, some ambrosia, like a heavenly drink, and it was just plain water, but it tasted amazing because I was in heaven. Literally, I felt like I'm in heaven all the time. My whole stay in New Zealand, in Dunedin, New Zealand. So yeah, this, I think this is about it. What I wanted to say, because there are some other interesting things, but I don't want to drag it for too long. About the girl, I met her one day. But it was already like 1 month after I told her I will come, because then I tried to message her like, I'm in a hospital, and she said like, I told her in the Vakari hospital. She's like, there is no mental, and she didn't even know there is a mental hospital in town, so whatever. But I met her one day, It was like in August, so already like after 35 days after I originally arrived. And, we went for a lunch, but she had a boyfriend with her. So at that point I knew that, this is not going to happen between us. Like, we cannot have a relationship. Just friends maybe, but she was not, she had a boyfriend. So we went to play ping pong, in some youth center or whatever it was, and we had a good time though, even though she had the boyfriend, but I was glad to see her. Like, she was beautiful, and I was in love with her still, even though she was not with me. It was not reciprocated. But maybe she liked me as a friend, but she kind of maybe suspected, that I'm crazy because I was in the mental hospital. But we didn't talk about that. We just recalled our memories from Canada, had a good time, played ping pong, and it was cool. Yeah. So anyway, I had to leave New Zealand. My dad, and with my dad, and I left, like August 15. So basically, I was there like 40 days, maybe 42. And when I left New Zealand, the heaven feeling slowly, totally disappeared. Like, already from the first flight back to Europe, first flight, it slowly disappeared. When I arrived in my city in Prague, Europe, it was completely gone. I was still a bit like feeling high from the heaven, but yeah, hours passed or days passed and it was all gone. But anyway, this is the story. I was in heaven itself, and the place was Dunedin, New Zealand. So if you listen to all of this, thank you for listening. And I do truly wish that people can find heaven like I did. And even though I lost it, I believe that it means something. And I will remember this forever. Thank you for listening. This was my heaven experience in Dunedin, New Zealand.